The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Hyalite, Montana, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39232. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting first, just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks. These are 6,000-pound direct pull and not intended for towing. As we move up, you'll find your forward-facing air horns. These are just underslung under the front bumper. You'll also find an electronic siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find a monitor located on the officer side. 2 D-handles gain you access into the front hose storage location. As we move up onto the cab face, on the outer edge, you'll find a marker turn indicator light, and then also your headlight structure, housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam will be located on the inside. Just above that, emergency warning light cluster. There are 4 forward-facing. Also, 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the A pillar, it's where you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving now to the brow of the apparatus, you'll find your identification clearance lights. Also located in this area, you'll find forward-facing floodlights. These are your front scene lights. Moving up onto the roof, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located within the center of the light bar is your opticom. Let's move around to the driver's side of the vehicle, full view, and then we'll focus in on the cab section next. As you start with the cab section, we'll start with the front axle. You'll find a visual sight gauge into the center, steel wheel, and Goodyear tire. Moving now to the front bumper extension, emergency warning lights side facing. Easily accessible with your gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch combination. They are keyed. And then also right next to that, you'll find a grab handle for gaining entry and exit for maintaining 3 points of contact. You'll also find a Shoreline auto eject. This is a 20 amp. Right next to that, you'll find your air inlet. Moving up from that location, you'll find a side-facing scene light at the very top section where the angle approach is. Also toward the rear cab, you'll find a LED water tank level indicator, and down at the very bottom section, you'll find an emergency warning light. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pump panel area. We'll come back to this section in great detail and cover the items individually. Let's move now to the body section, where you'll find just underneath the body section, your pump house is fully enclosed. Also, wheel chocks located in front and rear of the rear axle. Also, marker turn indicator light just in front of the axle. And then there are 2 pan doors. These are where your bottle storage and fuel locations will be. We'll cover those in just a few moments. Also, an emergency warning light just over the rear axle. This is part of the lower emergency warning light zones. As we move up to the very top, you'll find 2 side-facing scene lights, and at the rear of the apparatus near the hatch, you'll find an emergency warning light side-facing. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few items here. We do have a tow hitch located down here and some 12-volt electrical on both passenger and driver's side. Moving up to the outer edge, you'll find your emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. Just up from that location is the water tank level indicator, rear facing, and then also an emergency warning light just above that. As we move all the way up to the very top, you'll find a rear facing scene light. And then as I move just down from this location, we've got some lift and turn latches. These will gain access to the ladder storage location. And then just above that, an additional tool storage location. We have a locally controlled ball valve located here for a direct tank fill. And then also a backup camera, which does have a protective shroud and also a traffic advisor, which is recessed. As we look into the very top section of your hose bed area, And then from this location, we'll move just to the right where you'll find your ladder for gaining access to go topside. Also, D-handle gains you access into the upper portion in the upper right corner. We'll talk about that in a few moments too. Let's move around to the passenger side of the vehicle. We'll start first with the rear body section, and then we'll move into the midsection and then cab area. Same configuration and layout on both sides. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front of the vehicle, first starting with the storage location for the front hose load. As we look into this space, you can see we're divided into two separate locations here. Swivel discharge located down at the bottom, and then also swivel discharge in the rear section. As we move now into the driver's space, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock latch, and also window control and a grab handle. As we move to the base of the seat area, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, and cold tire inflation. In addition with the VIN number, and then also all of the fluid capacities for components, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. About the left knee of the operator, master battery switch, it's the quarter turn silver. Engine, transmission, ABS, and J1939 diagnostic port located in this area, along with your ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. Just up from this location is where you'll find your traffic advisor control module. And then as we move just to the opposite side of the steering column, this is where you'll find your inverter, flat mirror, and convex mirror. As we move to the dash area, you'll find tally light information will display above and below the tachometer. You'll also find a digital readout located in the very center section providing text information. General view here to the right of the driver's seat. We'll identify a few items here. First, throttle control. As we move down, we have a stationary OK to pump and roll indicator, our water pump switch, foam system switch, pump and roll, and tank to pump valve. To the right, you'll find windshield wiper control and push for fluid. As we move just below this, an additional set of switches for engine brake on and off, settings for low, medium, and high, tire change, diff lock activated, and mirror heat. Also, pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release, that's the yellow diamond, those are your rear spring brakes. Allison transmission pad, push button, digital information. Let's move to climate control just to the right where you'll find heat, air conditioning, and defrost. You also have an indicator here for your front bumper turret. And then just to the right of that location and just slightly back is where you'll find the control joystick. To the right, you'll find your Firecom volume control module and also siren and PA speaker. As we move into the overhead position of the driver, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of your vehicle, 10 feet 7 inches, length 32 feet 2.5 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 53,800 pounds. This also houses the 5-digit job number 39232-02. Switching panel here for emergency warning lights located in the upper section. As we move to the right, you'll find an additional set of rocker switches here. These are going to be for the high beam flash, opticom, air horn or electric horn, backup alarm override, and then also the load manager. Additional switches further to the right, these are going to be scene lights for front, driver, passenger, and rear. And as we move just slightly to the right of this location within view of the driver, you're going to have a digital pump pressure readout, water tank level indicator, and foam level indicator. This is a monitor for your backup camera at ceiling height. And then as we look to the ceiling area, you'll find seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. Along with a do not move your apparatus, you may have a compartment door open or ajar. As we look to the rear, there are 3 seats located on the rear wall, all housing SCBA packs. To the rear of the driver's seat, you'll find the handle for the manual cab tilt. We're now to the exterior where you'll find your Shoreline auto eject inlet and also your air eject. Goodyear tire, steel wheel, and visual sight gauge. As we move toward the rear cab portion, let's move into this space next. First, let's start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. As you look into the space, you'll find 2 EMS compartments on the outer edges with netting, adjustable shelves, and LED lighting. At the ceiling level, air conditioner, push on and off white or red lens lights. As we look to the rear cab wall, you'll find 3 forward-facing seats that do house SCBA brackets. This is an example of the EMS compartment behind the driver's seat. There is power located inside. This is a Shoreline outlet. When plugged into Shoreline power, those outlets are active. In the very center, we have an additional resource location here, LED lighting inside and netting material. Just underneath this, you'll find your access panel for daily checks for oil and transmission. As you look to the rear cab wall, you'll find your Firecom headset system. Let's go ahead and move to the exterior. At the very top section of the crosslay area, we have a through compartment here. Moving just downward from this location, we have an additional through compartment with crosslays. Also have a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement, and that's how we have that. As we move to the driver's side pump panel, we'll identify a few items within this area. First, let's start at the very top with number 1 driver's side discharge, 2.5 inch locally controlled via the ball valve, and then also your large diameter pump inlet. We have some warning placards here, pressure hazard, and then also caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move down, you'll find the number 3 driver's side discharge, locally controlled also at the ball valve, and the driver's side auxiliary inlet, along with your draft foam fill application. All of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are across the bottom, and then we have a flip-out step for gaining surface area. This is tied to the do not move your apparatus. As we move into the compartment, this is the pump panel area. We'll start first at the very top section. If you've engaged your pump from inside the cab properly, this OK to pump light should be illuminating. You'll also find the green module, which is your foam tank A indicator. In the gray module, you'll find your master intake gauge and also master discharge gauge. In between the two of those, test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, currently plugged for testing purposes. To the right, PCM fault indicator, visual, and also audible speaker. Across the next section, you're going to have all of our color-coded labeled discharges. They also are indicating red, meaning foam capable. This is your gauge heater. And then also just to the right, you'll find your fire pump primer. We do have an auto prime for best practices, 1000 RPMs for best. As you move to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor, and also embedded in that, you'll find a tank level indicator for your water tank. Let's move down to the next section where you'll find your tank fill. You also have an electric, or it should be air ride, tank to pump. Just down from that, we find your recirculating line. And then just to the right, the deluge discharge. This is so you can run your pump and roll. And then also in the very top section, once again, deluge discharge and a warning placard indicating that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. We do have 2 passenger side discharges, and those require electric valves. They are located here. And then also your Husky foam system module. The controls, or I should say instructions, are located on the placard itself, along with your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. Just down from that, your Husky 3 foam specification and also instructions. Let's move to the next section down, where you'll find all of our color code labeled discharge drains and also a pan door. Behind the pan door, you'll find your manual pump shift. It's the red protected switch. And then also a yellow handle indicating for foam horizontal and vertical operation. Please see the instructions for its operation. As we move to the very bottom section, color code labeled discharge drains. On the vertical sidewall, you're going to find all of our switch panels located here. And on the opposite side, we're going to find our minimum operation maintenance schedule. This is the placard here for your pump testing. Let's move into the compartment next, where you'll find your inverter located on the vertical wall. As we move down, you'll find a toolbox located here, 3-drawer. As we move to the over wheel compartment, you'll find also a tool board on the back wall. D-handle gains you access, and it will lock into position on the hinged side. As we move just to the forward section of the axle, you'll find either SCBA bottle storage location or extinguisher storage. To the rear axle, we'll find steel wheel and Goodyear tire. To the rear of this location, SCBA bottle storage and a 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, which is the blue cap. As we move the flap upward, we're going to see and expose the ultra low sulfur diesel exhaust, which is your silver cap. As we move to the next compartment back, this is going to be adjustable shelves in this compartment, LED lighting. As we move up to the vertical sidewall, you'll find shoreline and inverter outlets. All compartments open on the driver's side now. Let's take a look at the rear of the apparatus. Starting first on the rear of the apparatus, we'll start on the uppermost compartments, where we have some long-handled tool storage located here for D-handle storage. As we move down from that, you'll find ladder storage for a 24-foot extension and 14-foot roof. Moving further down, right scene light. This is a cupped switch. Back up to the very top section, hose storage, traffic advisor, which is recessed. And then also your backup camera, which does have a protected shroud. I'd like to point out some warnings regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. And then also you'll find never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. As we move to the upper portion of the ladder, this is your long storage area for drafting tubes, and then also a hose bed light switch activation. All compartments open now on the passenger side. Let's take a look inside. First starting on the rear compartment, where we have a adjustable shelf. Also in the vertical wall, you'll find shoreline and inverted outlet. Let's move to the over wheel compartment. You'll find SCBA bottle storage locations in front and rear of the axle, and an adjustable shelf in the upper portion. Rear axle is going to have steel wheels and Goodyear tires. As we move to the forward section of the axle, you'll find additional bottle storage location with retaining straps. Would like to point out extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle, especially during regen operations. As we move forward, we have 2 adjustable shelves and a pull-out tray in the lower section. Also in this compartment, you'll find shoreline and inverter outlets on the vertical wall. Let's move now from the body section into the crosslay area. Same configuration and layout. This is the upper through compartment. As we move downward, we'll find the crosslay compartment. Also a warning here, entanglement hazard because of those lines coming from that area. As we move to the pump panel, you're going to find your large diameter pump inlet in the very center. Also some warning placards here regarding fall. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. Always face the vehicle while you are climbing on or off, and pressure hazard. Because the 2 valves on this side are electric, the 2.5 inch has an override along with the large diameter, which has an override. This is your cab lift. There's instructions for its operation and also caution and danger. Please secure everything inside the cab. Large diameter pump discharge, electric valve also with an override. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains along with a flip-out step, once again tied to your do not move your apparatus. As we move into the rear cab area, let's start in the crew cab section, first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, grab handle. As we move inside, we've already kind of looked into the side, but let's take a look. We've got an EMS compartment on this side. Push on and off white or red lens lights in your air conditioner at roofline. 3 forward-facing seats which do house SCBA brackets, and then also your netting located in the very front section with LED lighting and also an adjustable shelf. Also in this compartment, you'll find shoreline outlet. We're now moving to the front axle, Goodyear tires, steel wheel. Let's move into the officer's space. We'll start affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. Also door lock and latch combination and electric window control and a grab handle. As we move into the front section, the vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system. That's the airbag located there under SRS, and also a warning placard indicating do not mount anything within this area because of the airbag. 12-volt access via barrel style and also an air horn push button. Overhead, we have blank locations here for additional components. Just underneath, you'll find your FireCom base station wireless module. And as we move up onto the top, you'll find the yellow diamonds are indicating the edge of the walking surface. Also to the forward cab section, this is a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these warning placards indicating of that information. Let's take a look in the dunnage area. This is where you'll find your master stream device and then also your hydraulic pump for your Husky foam system. The monitor is an extend-a-gun, meaning that it will raise above the cab. Hydraulic reservoir, this is the add location or check for fluid. You'll also find top fill water tank and top fill foam tank fill locations. Would like to point out this warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. As we move to the outside hatch compartments, there are two on the passenger and two on the driver's side. Each of these do have LED lighting and also dry deck material in the lower section. We're now to the hose bed area. There are 3 hose bed dividers located here. They are all movable. At the very front section, you'll find in the bulkhead the 2.5-inch rear discharge. Also, fully enclosed hose bed area. Once again, yellow diamonds indicating the walking surface. We're now into the chassis photos. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Hyalite Montana, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39232. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.